All right, so this time we're really diving deep into the world of wholesale meat merchants.
Really interesting stuff.
Yeah, and we're going to be using this RoleCatcher stack to guide us.
Cool.
Um, yeah, so forget like your local butcher shop, you know? This
Yeah.
is a totally different animal.
Totally different ballgame, yeah.
Yeah, this is like high stakes trading on a global scale.
Yeah, you got to have a strong stomach for this one.
Yeah, you got to bring your appetite for risk, that's for sure.
Definitely. But the roll catcher stuff I found was pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's a really interesting mix of the old school, like, networking side of things.
Right.
But it's also, like, very clearly being disrupted by all this new technology.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's not just knowing, like, your cuts of meat.
Yeah.
It's like understanding global supply chains.
Yeah, you really have to have a handle on the whole picture.
Yeah, the big picture.
And this guide really does a good job, I think, of laying all that out.
It does, yeah.
Like, I was really surprised by just how much variety there is in this role. Like, one day you could be, hunkered down in spreadsheets,
Right.
analyzing, import regulations for a shipment from Argentina or something like that.
Sure.
And then the next day you're on a plane
Yeah.
going to a food expo, Germany,
Yeah,
closing some huge deal.
absolutely.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, and don't forget about the ranchers in Nebraska.
Oh, yeah, right.
Like, that's the thing.
You're dealing with everybody.
You're dealing with everyone,
Hmm.
from, like, the people actually raising the livestock
Yeah.
to the people who are ultimately going to be putting it on their dinner plates.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good point.
And one of the really interesting things I saw in this roll catcher stack
Yeah.
was the U.S. alone exports billions of dollars of beef every year.
Wow.
Like, it's huge.
Wild.
So these wholesale meat merchants are the ones really making these global connections happen.
Wow, that really puts it into perspective.
It does.
Yeah, it's easy to kind of get caught up in the day-to-day. But these folks are literally shaping the entire global meat market,
Absolutely.
which is a lot of responsibility.
It is.
And speaking of a lot of responsibility,
Yeah.
this guide definitely does not sugarcoat how much hard work is involved.
No kidding.
Like long hours,
Right.
constant pressure to meet quotas,
Mhm.
like super fierce competition. Like
Yeah.
that seems to be just like the norm in this field.
Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart.
No.
This is not like a career where you can just like clock in and clock out.
Right.
You're living and breathing the market 24/7,
Constitute.
checking prices, assessing risk.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be ready to adapt because like disruptions can happen at any moment.
Right.
You remember that massive snowstorm that hit the Midwest a couple years back?
Yeah,
Like that sent shockwaves through the entire livestock industry.
I bet.
And these wholesale meat merchants,
Mm-hmm.
they're the ones that have to like deal with those curveballs on a
Wow.
regular basis.
So you need to be like a master strategist, a skilled negotiator,
For sure.
able to just like think on your feet
Mm-hmm.
because something unexpected is going to happen.
Always.
And you just got to roll with it.
Yeah, you got to be ready.
And I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
This roll catcher guide had this whole section on negotiation, like the psychology of negotiation
Really interesting.
within this industry, because
Right.
it's not just about like understanding, price points and all that, but
Sure.
it's like understanding the motivations of the people you're dealing with.
Like,
Like what pressures are they under?
it's like a high stakes chess game.
Yeah.
Like you've got to be anticipating their next move.
Oh, absolutely.
You got to know when to hold them and when to fill them.
Love it.
And you've got to be able to read people
Yeah,
just as well as you can read a market report.
for sure.
Absolutely.
But speaking of market reports,
Yeah.
I mean, the guide also mentions how much technology is changing this industry.
Oh, yeah. It's huge.
Like, it's not just phone calls and faxes anymore. Oh, no. These merchants are using some really sophisticated software to, like, track inventory,
right.
analyze trends,
Mm-hmm.
connect with buyers and sellers
All over the world.
all over the world.
Yeah. And we're also seeing the rise of all these online meat marketplaces,
That's true.
which is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same digital tools
Right.
that are changing how we buy our groceries.
Yeah.
But now they're transforming the wholesale market.
It's true.
And what I think is really cool is like
Yeah.
smaller producers,
Right.
specialty cuts, like even exotic meats.
Right.
All of that is becoming so much more accessible
Yeah.
thanks to these platforms.
It's like they're applying all those same efficiency principles to the industry itself,
Exactly.
which I love.
Yeah.
And speaking of efficiency,
Okay.
the RoleCatcher guide dives into this whole concept of a trading portfolio,
Right.
which I'll be honest with you, I found a little bit abstract at first.
Yeah, it's a little bit abstract, but it's a really key concept to understand.
Yeah.
So imagine you're building an investment portfolio, right?
Okay.
But instead of stocks and bonds,
Yeah.
you're cultivating relationships with
Oh.
ranchers, processing plants, distributors,
Okay.
a whole network of buyers.
Interesting.
And all of that makes up your trading portfolio
Okay.
as a wholesale meat merchant.
I see.
Yeah.
So you're not just like buying and selling meat.
Right.
You're really building this whole web of relationships.
Exactly.
That's how you find success as a wholesale meat merchant.
Yeah. You got to have a diverse portfolio, just like if you were investing.
Right.
And it's not just about the money either. It's about the relationships.
Okay.
Because like a wholesale meat merchant with a really good portfolio, they might be working with like small family-run farms
Right.
that are doing like organic grass-fed beef or whatever.
Sure.
But then they're also working with these massive poultry producers
Right.
that are supplying like national supermarket chains. Wow. So it's like every relationship, every deal
Yeah.
just adds another layer to your influence within the market.
It's like building a culinary empire.
It really is.
One deal at a time.
One meal at a time.
So speaking of empires, though,
Yeah.
what about the money?
The million-dollar question, right?
Right. Like, what's the earning potential here?
Well, let's just say
Yep.
a good wholesale meat merchant,
Mm-hmm.
they're not just bringing home the bacon.
Okay.
They're setting the price of bacon.
Okay. I like it.
But in all seriousness,
Yeah.
it's one of those fields where
Yeah.
your hard work like directly translates
Mm.
into your financial rewards.
Okay.
The more deals you close,
Yeah.
the more diverse and valuable your portfolio becomes, the more money you're going to make.
So it's competitive,
Oh, yeah.
but there's a clear path to success.
Absolutely.
If you're willing to put in the work.
Exactly.
It's not just about the money, though, right?
Right.
Like, the guide also mentions a lot of people finding a lot of satisfaction in this job.
Totally.
Like, what is that about?
Well, I think there's a real sense of pride
Okay.
that comes with being a part of that global supply chain.
Yeah.
That's literally putting food on people's tables,
That's true.
you know?
Yeah.
And plus,
Yeah.
it's kind of cool to be a part of the commodities trading world.
Okay.
Like there's a little bit of a thrill
Oh, I bet.
to that high stakes environment.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not for everyone,
Right.
but for the right person
Yeah.
who really thrives under pressure,
Mm-hmm.
it's incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, you're really painting a picture here.
I'm trying.
But it's not all like, you know, glamorous business trips
Right.
and these multi-million-dollar deals.
Well, it's some of that,
Oh, okay.
but it's also a lot of hard work.
Right.
Like this guide mentions,
Yeah.
the long hours,
Mhm.
the unpredictable schedule.
Right.
You're constantly under pressure
Yeah.
to stay ahead of the curve
Yeah, you really got to be on top of it.
all the time.
So you got to be adaptable, you got to be resilient,
For sure.
and maybe like a little bit addicted to caffeine
Probably helps.
to get through those late night negotiations.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The guide also emphasizes networking.
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
Like, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so it's not just about like going to industry events
Okay.
and like throwing business cards around,
Right.
although that is a part of it,
Yeah.
but it's more about building like genuine relationships
Right,
with
right.
everyone in your network, like
Right.
from the ranchers
Right. Well,
all the way to the retailers,
okay.
because those relationships are going to be so valuable. They can
Yeah.
give you insights into market trends, they can give you access to deals,
Right.
and they're a really important support system
Mhm.
for when things get tough,
Oh, I bet.
because they will get tough.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's really about who you know.
It really is.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, but even with a great network,
Mm-hmm.
this guide really stresses how important it is to stay ahead of the curve.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, what did they mean by that?
Well, the meat industry is changing,
Okay.
like really rapidly changing.
Oh, so?
Well, like consumer preferences are changing.
Okay.
Like people care about where your food comes from now.
Right.
They want transparency. They want sustainability.
So, like, knowing the origin of their food?
Yeah, exactly. Like imagine
Okay.
knowing like the exact farm your steak came from,
Okay.
knowing what that cow was fed,
Mm-hmm.
knowing like the carbon footprint of its journey to your plate.
Interesting.
Like that's the kind of stuff consumers are starting to demand.
So how do they actually do that? Like, how do you track all that?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Like you've heard of blockchain technology, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be huge for this industry.
How so?
Well, because it creates like a verifiable record
Okay.
of like every step in the supply chain.
So you can't fake it.
Exactly. It's tamper-proof.
Wow.
So consumers can have confidence that the information is accurate.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and it's going to revolutionize food safety too.
That's a good point.
So like wholesale meat merchants,
Yeah.
they're going to need to be up to speed on all this new technology.
Oh, absolutely.
Like this isn't just about keeping up anymore.
Right.
This is about using technology to your advantage.
So you can stay competitive.
Exactly.
So it's like this whole role is changing. It's not just trading meat. It's like you're curating an experience. I like that.
Yeah.
And this guide also mentioned alternative proteins.
Oh, yeah, that's another big one.
Okay.
Like plant-based meats, lab-grown meat.
Like, is this the end of burgers as we know them?
Well, I don't know about that.
Okay.
But it's definitely shaking things up.
Okay.
And for wholesale meat merchants,
Yeah.
it's all about adapting.
Okay.
Like the most successful ones in the future, they're going to be the ones who embrace this change, who see these alternative proteins as an opportunity.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, to diversify their portfolio.
Okay.
And to tap into these new markets.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So yeah, the future of meat is pretty interesting.
Yeah, so maybe in a few years we'll be doing a deep dive on like wholesale protein merchants or something.
I like it.
Right, and it'll be everything from like grass-fed beef to lab-grown salmon.
Absolutely.
The future is weird.
The future is now.
But no matter what happens, you're still going to need certain skills.
Oh, absolutely.
Like you got to know business, you got to know how to negotiate.
For sure.
You got to build relationships.
All that stuff's important.
You got to understand the supply chain.
Yeah, the fundamentals don't change.
So it seems like a career with a steep learning curve.
Yeah.
But a lot of potential for growth.
I think so.
So for someone listening who's thinking,
yeah,
this sounds awesome.
Okay.
What advice would you give them?
Get some hands-on experience. Like volunteer at a farm. Get a job at a butcher shop.
Okay.
Even if it's just like stocking shelves.
Okay.
Like you need to understand the product.
Right.
That's super important.
Practical experience.
Exactly.
So important.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to start small.
Okay.
Like you don't have to be negotiating million-dollar deals on day one.
Okay.
Just look for internships.
Yeah.
Look for entry-level position.
Right.
Get your foot in the door.
Just start building that foundation.
Exactly.
Learning the ropes.
And network.
Oh, right.
And network. Network.
Oh, right.
Network. Network.
It's important.
Go to industry events.
Okay.
Connect with people on LinkedIn. Reach out to people you admire.
Okay.
Ask for informational interviews.
Yeah.
People love talking about themselves.
That's true.
So, yeah, just be curious. Be eager to learn.
Awesome. Well, this was super interesting.
It was fun.
Yeah, this world of wholesale meat merchants
It's a wild ride.
It's a wild ride.
That's for sure.
But for those who are up for the challenge, sounds like a very rewarding career.
It can be.
So next time you're enjoying a burger,
yeah,
take a moment to appreciate the journey.
Think about all the people.
All the people involved.
All the steps along the way.
To get that burger on your plate.
It's a team effort.
It really is.
For sure.
Well, that's going to wrap up this deep dive.
Okay.
We hope you found it informative.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody.
We'll see you next time.